all the families back together. It's mom and dad and then the kids, Kevin and Violetta.
It's going to be fun over here.
And Uncle Rich just stepped in.
Hello,
Aunt
kids.
Judy has been drinking her box wine.
But there isn't enough alcohol. You know what I'm saying? There's just not enough.
At least she's happy.
Yes.
At least it's not box tied, because that's been a problem for some people. What do you mean? Is that not good? It's not Franzia. It's a little soapy, but it's okay.
Frozen pods in there to, get a cocktail going.
So the family's here. We're going to try Queenie's tonight. This is our. It seems like we're having a party a week right now. And
it's good. This is how it gets you through the winter.
This has been really good news for my liver doctor. It's really been very good.
Is there such a thing?
All right, can we talk about...
Yeah. Can I just say something very quickly, though, before we get into anything else? Because I have to point this out. Because you guys have been talking about Peter Parker, the Spider-Man, the kicker. Is that his name? Peter Parker? Cody Parkey.
Parkey.
Does anybody... you guys do realize how insane it is that they're bringing him there at night to practice.
They're really worried.
They have lights. The ball is the same. Clayton Kershaw doesn't go to a park and go like, I've never pitched at night. I better go see how home if I can see.
That's how awful the situation is.
They're going to practice at night.
Yeah.
Taking no chance on sun.
That's not good.
I love how they made the coach bring them down. This is I think I'm loving Matt Nagy more by every single hour as Nagy's like, all right. It was so embarrassing. Did you see he made ESPN every single
everywhere
goof roll at ESPN, Fox, everybody could do it, was running this thing.
Well, it was a record.
Yeah, we think. We don't even know. That's how stupid this thing is. We have because they don't really keep the record of how many times you hit the upright.
That'd be a good one of those contests that have to hit the upright for $1 million.
Right, and only Cody Parkey could do it.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Hey, let me do it. I got it.
Yeah, I want to be able to do
it. Maybe by December when he's out of the league, he can start that deal.
Poor Parkey. I'm feeling kind of sorry for him.
Kevin nailed it, though.
Sorry for him.
He's going to get $9 million no matter what.
And I'm sure he'll deserve that because
it was just
a fluke.
Back. It was a fluke.
Yeah, bounce
I
back.
hope it was a fluke. It better have been a fluke.
If he hits that bar again, then he's done.
You got to fire him on Sunday night. They are literally going to go up into the stands and they're going to find the guy with the leg.
Do you have a backup guy for those situations? Is there a backup?
Sure, right? The punter generally becomes the kicker,
or some tight end that kicked in junior college.
Right,
anyone
straight on like glue the toe gross.
Anyone who's not going to hit the post 5 times in a row.
But explain to me, it wasn't that far, right? It wasn't about the distance. It was just
the accuracy, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. It was about the fact that he kept kicking it right down the middle, and it kept going to the right because you go, the wind is dragging it to the right, but then at the exact same direction, it would then float to the left. It was like a Don Knotts movie from the 60s.
He was overcorrecting. Okay.
It would have been. So just for fun, they should put a magnet in the ball, for practice tonight. It just keeps hitting the upright. We're just messing with you.
So funny. Oh boy.
All right, let's do some movie reviews.
Yeah. A lot of movies coming out this weekend. Tons of movies. So many movies that we're going to take a few days to go through them all. But the first one we want to talk about is a movie we've been talking about forever because it was shot here in Chicago called Widows. And it's directed by Steve McQueen, who won the Academy Award for 12 Years a Slave. And the cast includes Liam Neeson and Viola Davis and Michelle Rodriguez and on. One of the greatest casts you're ever going to see in a movie. And it's
Robert Duvall,
Colin Farrell. So Robert Duvall and Colin Farrell, they actually play a father-son team. Robert Duvall plays this aging power broker, white alderman, and now Colin Farrell is his son, who's running for the soon-to-be vacant seat, but he's going up against a black candidate, so there's a lot of political stuff. And then there's the heist part of it, where 4 bank robbers were killed, and now their widows are going to basically finish the job and pull off this audacious heist. Viola Davis is the head widow, if you will, trying to get everybody else on board. So we have a clip of that right here.
So over here we have $2 million, 20 Tupperware boxes, each box has $100,000 in $100 bills. It weighs 44 pounds. Now over here we have $2 million, 40 Tupperware boxes, each box has $50,000 in $50 bills. It weighs 88 pounds.
I feel like I'm in school. Tell me about it.
We gotta start thinking like professionals. We're in business together. There's not gonna be some cozy reunion. After this job, we're done. We have 3 days to look and move like a team of men. The best thing we have going for us is being who we are. Why? Because no one thinks we have the to pull this off.
Great premise there. I love this movie, guys. It's one of the best movies of the year. So yes, it's 4 stars.
Wow.
What I like about, first of all, the entire film was shot here in Chicago, and it's got we see some of the downtown stuff, but a lot of stuff on the south side. They used 5 different churches for 5 different scenes. Some are funerals, some are happy, some are meeting places. So it gets into a lot of that, and then the politics of Chicago, race relations. So it's got a lot of big picture stuff, but then it's just a really badass thriller as well.
Did we know this was happening?
Yeah. Yeah, this is the one. Remember, I told you it was actually all the way last summer where I visited the set for a day and talked to. I actually watched Robert Duvall.
Oh, yeah, you did tell us
which is
about
like
that.
watching, Shakespeare writing. I mean, watching Duvall in a scene, and then just did recently. Almost the whole cast was in town for a Q&A. So they've been playing this one up big. And the script is by Gillian Flynn, who wrote Gone Girl and Sharp Objects in Chicago. And so this was originally a British miniseries back in the 80s, and they completely revamped it and updated it into the Chicago setting. So it's a Chicago movie through and through, but just a great film. It's just like, you just don't see these kinds of movies with this big of a cast, in something that's also a mainstream thriller.
Right.
So it's really cool.
Well, her writing is just amazing. It takes you in places
right?
you would never think and never. I'm just such a fan of her work.
Yeah, what they do, just every bit of this is just lots of cool twists and turns, and I love the dynamic between Duvall playing that classic power broker who does not want to, shall we say, see somebody not of his Irish American heritage presiding over the ward that he has
that would
ruled.
never happen in this town.
And the way he
What a
says
strange
it to,
premise.
the way he says it to his son is, it will make you flinch, but it's exactly how certain people talk behind closed doors.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
great stuff.
All right, and it's the scenes of Chicago are they catch it as Chicago.
Yeah.
They're not trying to make it, and it's clearly not Toronto, which is nice.
No.
And they're clearly trying to make it about here.
There's some really cool shots where the camera just keeps following a car as it goes from within one ward, the most impoverished neighborhood, to the big houses that are just inside the boundaries of the ward and have security signs up and everything like that.
Oh,
show that
you mean
that
maybe where the alderman lives?
possibly kind of thing. All of a sudden, there's a gate around the house, and that sort of perk. You will see echoes.
What'd you say, Ro? I didn't hear that.
All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back.
Okay.
And we're going to do Instant Family, the new Mark Wahlberg movie.
Marky Mark, as you remember.
With Rose Byrne. We love her, too.
I love that movie.
And then...
Violetta loves the movie. She hasn't seen it. She hasn't even gone to the Rokon level of watching the trailer.
I've watched like 3 trailers. Love it.
Good. Have your turn.
And Green Book with Mahershala Ali.
Yes.
Which looks fantastic as well. So we'll find out about that. All right, we are here at the United Center at Queenie's Supper Club. It's all brought to you by Citgo. Fill up at your locally owned station today. Richard Roeper is with us.
Yes.
He's doing the reviewing. He's got the reviewing. Mark Wahlberg. First of all, 4 stars for Widows.
4 stars for Widows.
A Chicago-made film that stars some of the biggest actors in the world.
Yes.
Got to see that.
Yeah. And it's a crime, and it's a heist drama, crime and political drama. It's like a perfect thing.
Everything I love.
Instant Family, Mark Wahlberg and Rose Byrne.
Instant Family. Mark Wahlberg has played a dad in 47 straight movies now, I believe, including in the Daddy's Home series, because Mark Wahlberg is a dad, so I think he's leaving most of the action roles to others. This is kind of interesting because it's based on the director's real-life story. He and his wife did not have children, and they decided to foster 3 siblings, which nobody ever does, as you know. The separated families are often separated siblings. So it's based on the real-life story. So Mark Wahlberg and Rose Byrne play a couple who decide to adopt 3 siblings, including a teenage girl, and then 2 little ones, and of course all of them have all kinds of problems. They're also Hispanic, and Rose and Mark, of course, are playing a white couple. So it's very sweet, and you know exactly where this movie's going to go. You know they're going to bring them into the house, and there's going to be some bonding, and then there's going to be some big difficulties, and then the real mom's going to show up and want to get the kids back, and all of that kind of stuff. And it's okay, but it's unfortunately done in too much of a slapstick manner. I wish they had trusted the material and gone for something a little more substantial. And it also has some kind of weirdly inappropriate humor, where all of a sudden it's like an R-rated movie, because it's the writer-director. He did Horrible Bosses and some of those movies, and I think he took some of the bits from those movies that must have been left over, because all of a sudden there's genitalia humor and things like that, and we don't need that for this film. So I think either go for a very, very straightforward, heartwarming, family film rated PG, or go hard R and make it something weird, which they kind of go in between. So I give it 2 stars. It's a crowd pleaser, though, and you can't help but get kind of caught up in the story.
Mark Wahlberg.
And the kids are adorable. They deserve a good home. home, even though they're all child actors who are making more money than we are. But in this movie, they're playing three young siblings with trouble. So,
Mark Wahlberg has that thing, that Hollywood movie star thing, that it's just an intangible. You don't know why you like him, but you like him.
Yeah,
True. He's so authentic.
especially in these roles where you can feel like he's just wearing the boots and the flannel and the jeans that he wears around the house.
Right.
He's playing a guy that does fixer-upper, work on homes. Or you believe him.
As a
Patient
regular
with a
guy.
hammer. A regular guy. You do believe that.
He gets up at 2:30 in the morning to work out.
Yeah, gets up
a protein
and
shake.
Although
And then he prays.
He did say in that story that he goes to bed every night at 6, and I'm like, well, that's it sounds all noble and everything until you realize he's got a bunch of kids and he's leaving them with the wife then at 6 o'clock.
I think there's more than just the wife working that.
Well, even
Working
so.
that family.
So, and then we've got time to talk about. You guys want to talk about
Green Book.
Green Book. This is really interesting, guys, because this is based on a true story. Okay, so it's 1962. And Viggo Mortensen plays a guy who's kind of a bouncer enforcer at the Copacabana, the famous Copacabana in New York. They go under, they're doing a good renovation, so he's looking for work, and he gets hired to be the driver bodyguard for an African-American renowned pianist who's going to go around the country, including through the Deep South, and they're going to drive to locations, to concerts everywhere from Indianapolis, but then Kentucky and New Orleans. So you've got this kind of lug from the Bronx who's uneducated, doesn't know anything except for the other kind of guys like him. And then you have this highly educated, super sophisticated, renowned pianist who he's going to drive around. So it's kind of a reverse Driving Miss Daisy. Mahershala Ali plays the Don Shirley, who's a real life a legendary musician. And Viggo plays his driver, so Marshall in the back seat, Vigo's in the front seat. And again, you know what's going to happen here, because the lug from the Bronx is completely prejudiced until his eyes are opened up by what really happens in the Deep South. And then he knows nothing about music, but he hears this guy playing. He goes, "You're even better than Liberace." Oh, but it's really, really well done and beautifully shot. And I loved it. It's one of those movies where, everything that's going to happen along the way, but it's the journey. And the really cool thing is that these two men, this really happened in real life, and they became friends for 40 years before they died within a few months of each other, just a few years ago. So I'd like to see a real life story about. And the Green Book, by the way, is so named because there was a book in the 40s and 50s and 60s even that black travelers would use, telling them which restaurants and gas stations and motels would accept their business as they went through the South. It was the famous Green Book.
Okay, so another Oscar nomination thing for Mahershala Ali.
Possibly. He's great in this, and there's a lot of the piano playing. You could see it's really him, and he's unbelievably good.
Yeah.
They're both really good together. It's all about the buddy chemistry between Viggo and Mahershala, and it's really well done. 3.5 stars for Green Book.
Awesome. And what about Widows? Is that an Oscar contender?
Yes, I think Widows is best picture, and probably a couple supporting actor.
Duvall get a nod?
I don't think Duvall will, but
Viola Davis?
Viola could get it for lead actress, and then there's an actress named Elizabeth Debicki, we didn't even talk about her, who plays one of the widows, who's a breakout performance by her. And Brian Tyree Henry, who's in Atlanta and some other things, he plays the guy that's running for alderman, who's also a thug and trying to get out of that life, or maybe use the aldermanic office as a cover, and he's great too. A lot of
Daniel Kaluuya.
Yes, he plays the candidate's brother, who has a psychotic streak in him.
Oh, good. All right.
You need that in a good thriller.
All right, well, this ends our broadcast from Queenie's Supper Club at the United Center. We're getting ready for Blackhawks hockey, which is coming your way in 2 minutes.